I landed at the airport, dragging my suitcase through the automatic doors, and immediately felt a strange emptiness. The house was quiet when I walked in, too quiet. My keys jingled against the counter, and I saw her, my wife, standing in the kitchen, her back to me, stirring something in a mug. I froze for a second, the way I always did when I tried to read her moods. Then, almost without thinking, I said, "Before I left, I knew." She froze mid-stir, and I saw it, just for a fraction of a second, in the way she stiffened. I didn't have to explain. She already knew I meant what I couldn't yet put into words. The week I'd been gone for business had been normal on the surface. Texts, phone calls, video chats, they all happened. But there were tiny things I had pushed aside. Things that now flashed in my mind like warning lights I'd refused to notice. The way she avoided my calls when I was late for meetings, the sudden silence when I came online, the little excuses about work stress or friends dropping by. At first I blamed myself, too busy, too distracted, not enough time. I'd always been the husband who doubted himself first. It started subtly. The night before I left, she had kissed me goodbye with a hug that felt rehearsed, almost mechanical. Her hand lingered a little too long on my arm, then pulled away sharply. I'd brushed it off. Just tired, I had told myself. But now, standing in the kitchen, I could feel it. The quiet betrayal that had been growing like a shadow I refused to acknowledge. I noticed her eyes darting away, the way her fingers fiddled with the mug, the faint smell of perfume that wasn't hers lingering in the air. My stomach twisted. "Why did you look at me like that?" she asked softly, but the words sounded hollow. "I saw the messages," I said, my voice low, steady. "Not everything, just enough." Her hands froze. I didn't even have to ask which ones. The text she thought she deleted, the ones she thought I'd never see, had slipped through backups, notifications, a little digital breadcrumb trail I stumbled upon when I checked her phone by accident. Her face went pale. "Wasim." I shook my head. "No. Don't. Just tell me why." She swallowed, and I could hear the catch in her throat. It didn't mean anything. I wasn't happy with myself. I cut her off. "You weren't happy with yourself? Or you weren't happy with me?" Her eyes filled with tears. I had loved her too much, trusted her too blindly, and now every memory stung. The morning coffee she made just for me, the lazy Sunday afternoons on the couch, the way she laughed at my jokes, even those small things were tainted now, contaminated with the knowledge of what she had been doing. "I didn't plan for you to find out," she whispered, her voice cracking. "It just happened." I took a step closer, then stopped. My chest tightened, not from anger, not yet, but from the crushing weight of disbelief. I remembered the nights she had stayed late at work, the weekend she suddenly needed space, the excuses that now seemed like rehearsed lies. My heart pounded against my ribs, and for a moment I felt a strange clarity. I had loved someone who didn't love me enough to be honest. "I wanted to see you," I said finally, "before I confronted you, to see if you could even look at me without lying." She looked up, shame and guilt in her eyes. I never wanted to hurt you. I swear." And that's when I realized something vital. I had already been hurt. The betrayal wasn't in the confession. It was in the weeks, months, maybe years of little omissions, the hidden moments that told a story louder than any apology ever could. I felt a surge of grief, but underneath it something else, resolve. I loved her once, but love alone wasn't enough to erase the truth. "I can't pretend this didn't happen," I said, my voice calm but unyielding. "I can't just go back to how things were." She nodded, silently crying, and I saw in her eyes everything I used to see in mine. The guilt, the regret, the recognition of a mistake too late. I walked to the door, paused, and turned. "I won't hate you," I said. "But I won't be yours anymore." The words hung in the air like smoke. And for the first time in a long time I felt a strange bitter relief. I was free, from lies, from betrayal, from the weight of loving someone who couldn't give me truth. I left the house, not in a storm of anger, not in a rush of despair, but quietly, with a steady heart. Each step outside was a reclaiming of myself. Each breath a reminder that I could survive heartbreak without losing who I was. Later, I would think about the little things she did, the subtle warnings I had ignored. I would remember them not as evidence of betrayal, but as lessons about trust, awareness, and self-respect. I would remember standing in the kitchen, looking at her, feeling everything I needed to feel, and choosing myself over a life built on lies. And in that moment, I realized something else. The hardest part of betrayal isn't the shock. It's the quiet knowing that you've been blind for too long, and the courage it takes to open your eyes. I stepped out into the evening, the city lights flickering around me, and for the first time in years, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time: possibility. I had lost her, but I hadn't lost me.